leave and move into Israel if there was housing in Israel. So removing the settlers is not going to be an issue. The blocks, these big cities of settlers that are attached to Israel at the base. We already agreed back in Oslo that this is going to be the 67 border. So they're going to be. No, I'm not saying Oslo. I'm saying we agreed on the 67 borders. That still stands. We're not going back to the 48, right? We agreed on the 67 borders, give or take.
There's no way.
No, these blocks are in that 67 border. So you're not getting rid of very many settlers, and I think they will go back to Israel. I think America will pay to have housing built in Israel for them. And that just leaves the Palestinians in the West Bank, and now you can't really. There's no security threat. You could have like a border wall. You could have your checkpoints there, but it just leaves the West Bank open. And what's going to happen when the West Bank is open like that? We don't need a state. All we do is we need to just build for ourselves and build an economy, and that alone will give us enough credibility to where, once we're built up, there's no choice for the UN but to declare a state. I think that's the most realistic scenario, where a state will kind of sneak up, for Palestinians without, going negotiating with Israel, negotiating with the Palestinians, and it will be imposed on us, and it will be about the 67 borders.
Israel two-state solution is also a disaster for Israel. Actually,
it is.
It's again demographic collapse, inevitable demographic collapse. Like, it's just, you can't have peace in general, a peace scenario, even let's say a two-state solution takes place and a peace scenario ensues. Again, Arabization is inevitable. You have a fifth of the population that's Arab. It's going to connect with the new Palestinian state. They're going to be empowered by a Palestinian state, just like how Jews are empowered by an Israeli state, by a Jewish state. Palestinians overall, all over the world, they're going to be empowered by the presence of a Palestinian.
And you don't need a two-state solution. You just need Palestinians to be left alone, and for Palestinians to be able to build an economy.
It's not about us. They don't want to leave us alone because we are an existential threat.
Yes. The threat is more if they don't leave us alone, then they would have to look internal at their own affairs. So they don't have the Palestinians to concentrate on. So even if we don't have a state,
you're selling a recipe for disaster for them. But
at
this point, it's like how much you want. How far can you delay this? Delay the inevitable.
Do you see Israel? No, forget two states. Forget two states. Do you see a scenario where Israel would be forced to allow the Palestinians to have the West Bank in terms of being able to build it, including Area C, or most of Area C, to be able to build an economy and not call it a state, but to govern themselves and build an economy?
No. I don't see them allowing prosperity even in the Palestinian territories.
Because it would be a threat.
Territories.
It would be a threat to them.
Population threat. Yep, there will still remain the population growth.
But you're saying population. I think it's more of a threat because if without the active occupation, with all these resources going to that, then where are all these resources going to go? If Israel isn't rallying behind the flag in terms of the occupation, even just leaving us alone would be a threat, because now they have to look inwards and fix their own issues within Israel, which is something that Israelis do not want to do.
Israel can fix their own social issues. There's not really what are they gonna do at the end of the day? But what are they gonna? They're gonna sit there and watch a rising, prospering Palestinian demographic. They can fix their internal issues, but then what? It doesn't solve their existential problem. That's the problem.
No, it doesn't.
And at the end of the day, you're giving up what? In the mindset of you're somehow religious and leaning Jew. At the end of the day, Jerusalem and Judeans, this is the Jewish land. The Judea is the Jewish land, technically.
Ironically.